Hello, is this the internet?
Is this thing on?
Hello?
Knock knock, is this the internet machine?
Hello?
Hello, am I logging on to AOL Online?
Hello?
Hello?
Hi, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to the second
Annual Oscar special!
No. The second episode of Nick's at Night,
Right.
which is a show where we pretty much are going to be playing a couple of hours of content for you, including new things are smattered throughout there, things we worked on, and yeah, it's gonna be great.
It's gonna be splendiferous.
It's gonna be
Well,
awesome.
I like it. Give it a thumbs up.
Give it a thumbs up.
Giving it a thumbs up into the microphone.
Anyway, so we're gonna run the show now. So
Okay.
we're gonna be here in chat. Please, if you enjoyed the show, please consider liking or retweeting or sharing to somewhere or telling your friends or something like that. And also consider supporting us on patreon.com/nickspheres. We are entirely funded by our patrons at this point. So we're going to get going with the show, Fred.
With the show.
Okay, goodbye.
A serial violator. Twist the knife. You gotta twist the knife, And if all this was running in place, I hope you fall on your fucking face. I need you breathe to be alive. I need to scream to be alive. And it's no surprise that on this night there was a night behind your eyes. And it's no surprise that on this night there was a night behind your eyes. Careful kerosene men light your holy television. Blindness in the middle, the bruises where you hit her, and the attention painted color in your eyes is like a tidal wave of guilt, collapsing all your pretty towers of love.
great white. He's got the feel real shark skin, and his special power is the right hand roundhouse punch. He sends a competition to a watery grave. Boom!
Let's see. He's cute. Oh, she's so cute. Look at that. Oh, you're not a bear. Bam! Grab the bear. Never gonna get. We've known each other for so long. Your heart's been aching, but you're too shy to see it. Inside we both know what's been going on. We know the game and we're gonna play. And if you ask me how I'm feeling, don't tell me you're too blind to see. Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around inside you, never gonna make you cry, never gonna say goodbye, never gonna tell a lie. I love you, never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around inside you, never gonna make you cry, never gonna say goodbye, never gonna tell a lie. I
Cleaning really nasty, so.
Greetings and welcome to the Midsummer celebration and wonderful tidings for this summer. It's been a pretty hot summer. It's been fruitful, I would say, and many blessings to you, the clicker of this video. Hopefully by the end of this I will have converted you to this strange cult that I seem to have over here on the internet. There's a plane overhead, but you're going to have to ignore that. There are many benefits to joining a cult, specifically ones on the internet. The sense of community. You can get out of your shitty relationship by putting the man in a bear suit and then burning him alive. Or you could jump off a cliff face, smashing your face to pieces. Midsummer's a movie that's out right now. It's a fucking nightmare. You'll love it. So, Midsommar is the new movie from Ari Aster, the director of Hereditary, and it is fucked. I felt that there was this sort of enigmatic connection that I had to Hereditary, where upon watching it I was kind of like, what does this mean? What this about? Not very straightforward filmmaking, which I think makes the movie scarier, but also makes the movie interesting enough for people to want to talk about. Midsommar, on the other hand, is kind of strange because I feel like a lot of the same reaction is happening with Midsommar, where people are dissecting it and analyzing it for its little details and trying to figure out what exactly it's trying to say. I feel like this movie is a lot more straightforward than the previous movie. I felt like I picked up just about everything that I actually wanted from the movie on the first viewing. Like, I didn't have to go back to the theater the next day and try and figure out what the movie was trying to say. I felt like it was all right there, clear to me. And easy mode, let's call it. But perhaps that's because I have experienced a lot of the things in the movie. You know, not the burning and the torture, but, you know, the other things. And also it just sort of fits within my aesthetic. I kind of could assume what was going to happen in the movie based solely on the first 20-30 minutes. It's literally kind of Cannibal Holocaust for white people, isn't it? It's a movie where a bunch of dumb white people go to enjoy a foreigner's celebration and then learn very quickly that it's actually a lot darker than they think that it is, and it's a lot more complicated, and it's going to get them killed and maybe eaten. If there was cannibalism in the movie, I think I would have liked it more. 7 out of 10. But no, jokes aside, I believe that this movie also has like themes of grief on its mind, but it's more about relationships and like how one deals with their own problems while also dealing with the problem of having a partner that doesn't help them, doesn't bring them joy, doesn't protect them from the ills of the world. So the basic gist of the movie, if you haven't seen it, which if you haven't seen it, you probably should see it, unless you don't want to, which is fair because it's a fucking nightmare. You'll sit silently in your car for 20 to 30 minutes after it's over, wondering why you did that. But in case you haven't seen it and need a little pitch, it is about some people that go to a midsummer celebration after It's about a group of people that go to a midsummer celebration in the Netherlands. Can't remember the exact location, which is basically just a giant cult. They go to visit the cult and learn about their rituals. Some of them are in college and they're writing their dissertation about this particular religion. Other people are just sort of along for the ride. They hear that there's drugs there, and they like drugs quite a lot, so they're going to do drugs with the cult. Unfortunately, doing drugs with the cult seems like sort of a bad fucking idea, but of course this is more complicated because the main character of the movie is a lady who, her entire family has just very recently died because her sister did a suicide murder to her parents and herself. The lady is grieving, and her boyfriend is a bag of shit. Okay, her husband's not a bag of shit, he's just like an asshole. Okay, he's not he's not a great dude. He's not a great dude. he's not very caring. He's not a great dude. He's kind of a bag of shit. He really wants to break up with her because he thinks that she has too many problems and she's too irritating and she's got too much bullshit, too much baggage, and he doesn't really want to deal with that, which to an extent is kind of a fair thing, you know, like that does need help, deserves that kind of help, but if the care isn't there and you don't think that you're going to be a good provider for your partner, like, it is generally a pretty okay thing to do. Mostly, the reason he wants to do this is so that he can bang some chicks, which is not great. So the movie kind of acts as a metaphor of their breakup. She is extremely isolated, so she clings to him even though she knows that he's not really right for her. And he can't break up with her because he feels like he has to be the only person in her life and save her from all of that, which he's doing a pretty inadequate job at anyway. So the movie basically acts as kind of a metaphor for their breakup. She goes on to become like the May Queen at this cult thing and do a lot of drugs and have like a whole experience and learn that she's kind of got a little family here of people that are very caring towards her, even if they're weirdo cultists. And he learns that he probably should have been, you know, better or broken up with her when he wanted to, shortly before he fucking dies. He's also punished by being forced to have sex with someone, which is not great. So Midsommar has this really sort of interesting interpretation of like what cults mean to people. Typically in media we're seeing cults as like a charismatic leader leading a bunch of people away from their communities to a sort of isolated state where then the cult leader can kind of take advantage of them. But in this movie it's actually the opposite, where the woman is in an isolated state, but by going to the cult, she finds like a community that allows her to break away from the people that are isolating her and harming her and are keeping her from living a healthy, happy life. So it's interesting because it turns out that what she needs isn't actually the relationship. What she needs is like a community of people to help her grieve and to make her feel valuable again, and to make her feel like she can do something in the world that isn't just, you know, ask herself constantly why all of this happened to her, why the world has done this to her. Breakups are kind of good, actually, especially if they lead somebody to exist in a less isolated state where they're in a fulfilling community that helps them a lot, especially through something like grieving and like the loss of your parents or the loss of like a family member or all of them in a kind of exploitation-y sense. So it's not necessarily that the movie is saying, you know, we're pro-cult and cults are good, but rather that community is good, and, you know, sometimes in order to find the community that you deserve, you have to kind of kill the people that you were isolated by, that you were with. Like, you have to completely erase them from your mind so you can move on with your life. In this way, I think the movie has like a really pretty progressive message about grieving, where traditionally a movie like this would suggest that you do like find a man that can protect you or can make you feel valuable, whereas this movie is kind of like, fuck that, like, join a cult. So yeah, fuck that, join a cult. So, let's say you're interested in joining my cult. Well, I would highly recommend that you subscribe on YouTube, perhaps give this video a like. That's your initiation to the cult.
You are watching Nyx at Night. Keep watching. Support on Patreon. Consume. I love you.
Like and subscribe.
Monday you can fall apart. Tuesday, Wednesday, break your heart. Thursday doesn't even start. It's Friday. I'm in love. Ooh, why do you hate me? Do you still want to be my baby? Do you still want to be my child? Hello? Wow, you fucked off real fast. Hi, and welcome to May Progressively Becomes More and More of a Slut over the course of an hour. Seriously, if I have one more wardrobe malfunction, I'm gonna lose my whole mind. Last time I was on here, I said very specifically that while I would be talking about movies that were fucked up and miserable, a hard mode list, if you will, for this whole quarantine situation that we're in, some people came back with pretty reasoned counter arguments as to why I should go ahead and just sort of give them a real challenge. There was a suggestion going around that I do an impossible list. Now these are movies that under no circumstances should anybody ever consume. Ever. I consumed them, but I also consumed this entire bottle of Fireball. Doesn't even hurt anymore, really. I've been through some shit this week. If there's one person in this world that's really super not happy right now, it's me, because I locked myself in my home and I watched these fucking movies for you. There are too many damn movies that are about the same things. What is with that? So many people made movies about shit eating. So you might not see August Underground on this list, but it will be on the future list. This is a two-part video. Don't get me wrong, the selections that I've made today will go down in history as some of the most fucked up things that anyone has ever seen ever, and I endured all of it for you. Now I know you're wondering, did I deserve that? And the answer is no. They can't say I don't suffer for my work. I am going to be showing you some fucking nightmares today, none of which you ever wanted to see. These are the most cursed movies of ever. Today I decided to watch the least palatable fucked up movies. I watched the ones that nobody wants to watch at a party. That party would be very short. We're talking about movies that if you weren't socially distancing before, you will be afterward, because you need to have a serious think about your life. Some of your habits have maybe taken things a little too far and you've ended up here. If ever there was a reason to have a trigger warning on anything, it would be this, because this is going to be a nightmare for you and for me. I feel like I am flying in the air.
You're flying towards cinema heaven.
Do I look good?
You look amazing, baby.
Thank God. Alright, you sluts, it's time for the movie list. The first movie is called Where the Dead Go to Die.
Hi, Tommy.
Oh, hi, Labby. When did you get back into town?
God sent me to tell you that the child living inside of your mother is the Antichrist. We must kill it, Tommy.
Huh? I don't know, Abby.
Are you ready for the most vile thing you've ever seen portrayed on PS2 graphics? Me too! It's Where the Dead Go to Die, directed by Jimmy Screamer Claus. And that director's name is exactly what you should expect from the movie. The movie looks like it was directed by Jimmy Screamer Claus, whoever that is. Jimmy, it's time to put me in a movie. I'm an actress. Put me in your movie, Jimmy. I can also mutter under my breath while quietly jerking off.
Do you even know where babies come from, Tommy?
No, I tried to ask my parents, but they wouldn't tell me.
Where the Dead Go to Die is a vile film where a small boy has sex with a dog, and the dog is possessed by a demon, and the demon is very scary. 'Tis the most cursed film of all time, definitely 100%.
I killed myself the other day.
I generally think that anybody that looks at this would come to the same conclusion, which is, I don't know where this came from, but something's very wrong. At the beginning, I thought, there's no way that this is real. And then when I settled into it being real, I realized that it had to have been made by a magician, a demon magician.
He's watching you, and he loves you. He's watching you, and he loves you.
Everybody has been to a sleepover, I assume. Any normal girl sleepover always starts with the question, what fucked up movie are we going to watch this evening? Sometimes it's Cannibal Holocaust, sometimes it's Sallow or 120 Days of Sodom, but sometimes, on those lucky occasions, it's the guinea pig movies. Classic, the ultimate in Hideshi Hino cinema. The movie that really put snuff films on the map. It's a movie where a samurai man kidnaps and quarters a woman. That's it. That's all. Were you expecting more? Welcome to the fucking video. It doesn't get better. It only gets worse. Every movie is worse now than this. I can't even show a fucking clip from this. Why did I do this? Hideshi Hino is a manga artist, but also the worst filmmaker. Such a vile man. I think I enjoyed Flowers of Flesh and Blood because it's so simple. A man murders a woman a lot. It's so easy. It's so simple compared to things later on the list like Angel's Melancholy and Slaughtered Vomit Dolls. At least it isn't that. This one, surprisingly simple. No vomit, no shit, and the gore effects look a little cheap. Not too cheap because apparently Charlie Sheen, he watched this movie one time and he thought that it was real, so he called the FBI, which, I mean, if I was trying to call the FBI, I don't have their phone number, number one. Should Hideshi Hino have been sent to jail anyway? The warrant's out. I think definitely. That's just me. So Mermaid in a Manhole is a movie about a painter who finds a mermaid in a manhole and then decides to paint the mermaid. So this chronicles this time where this mermaid has a whole bunch of shitty pustules on her body and the artist like sort of pops them and then takes the paint that comes out of the pustules and paints a painting with them. But then at the end they decide that they're going to do a little twist, a little sort of Nite Shyamalan. It turns out that the mermaid was his wife and child, which is a little bit bullshit. I was having a lot more fun when he was popping the pustules on a mermaid. It's essentially the same thing as Flowers of Flesh and Blood, but instead of quartering a woman, there's just a whole bunch of pustules and they pop the pustule. And some pustules have a little bit of red, some have a little bit of blue. You know, you need a lot of colors to paint a portrait. There's a pustule for every color, really. Flowers of Flesh and Blood is a quality film, but let me tell you what, Mermaid in a Manhole is really quite a step up. It's a beautiful film, there are a lot of colors, they come out of all orifices, and it's a whole lot of fun for the whole family. Watch this one with mom. Let's move on.
Here's how I like them, and I suggest you have them the same way.
Go ahead there, folks. Pick yourself up a couple of dolls.
Switching over to something that is surprisingly more normal than Flowers of Flesh and Blood, it's the film Nothing But Trouble, directed by, I believe, Dan Aykroyd. And if it isn't directed by Dan Aykroyd, at least he has his grubby little dick all over the whole fucking movie. He even has a dick for a nose. It's a dirty movie made by dirty people that's really weirdly dirty. There's like a bunch of weird dirty shit. Basically, Chevy Chase, who's fucking phoning it in, and Demi Moore, who's also fucking phoning it in, go on this very unwatchable adventure through a weird haunted mansion that's run by Dan Aykroyd with a cock for a nose. And I know that sounds great, but it isn't. The biggest problem with this movie is that it's really unwatchable, which is why it's on this list, but also why it's notable. I don't understand. Some people like this movie for how many ideas that are on display, but I don't like it, and I want it to stop. I've never had a movie in my life where I was like, don't touch me, but if this movie was in the room with me, I'd be like, don't touch me. He has a cock for a nose. Tupac is in the movie. Tupac is in the movie. I don't make the rules. Let's talk about something with more gore. Hey, cool cats and kittens, it's time to watch Begotten together. Begotten is a black and white, high contrast film about God ripping out his shit and then it makes life and then life is bad. There's not really much to it. I could summarize it in a sentence like I have. However, it is gross, weird, nasty, and shitty. It's a film directed by E. Elias Merhige, who directed Shadow of the Vampire, which is a very good movie. I talked to him on Twitter once. He's a sweet boy. But he did direct this, so points docked. I don't know what you're doing. Points docked. Weird that you did this. Begotten is weird and a nightmare, and I would actually really like to see this in high definition, but oops, God won't allow it. It's meant to kind of ape the style of sort of like a Dr. Caligari or like a Nosferatu, like very old, like turn of the century filmmaking style, but about like a religious story, but in a very honest way. It's definitely a piece of art that's interesting and people have their own sort of defenses for it, but I don't have any real offenses for it. I'm not like, fuck this movie or anything like that. I was just mostly bored. And to be honest with you, that's kind of a through line through a lot of these movies. They may be shocking and horrible, but they are also cripplingly boring. Shout out to the film that I watched today. It's called Aftermath, and it's about necrophilia. Now, I know we all love necrophilia. Let's just get that right out on the open. Everybody loves to fuck a corpse. We talked about Necromantic last time. It was the thumbnail, and now I have to give Jörg Buttgereit a big old high five. You don't have to agree with me. I find Necromantic to be a bit more fun than something like Aftermath, which is about the same thing. Necromantic, all smiles over here. Great time. Aftermath is about a creepy weirdo who works at a morgue, cuts open some bodies, and then finds a woman, and he's like, ooh, woman body, and then cuts open woman body, has sex with said body, and then that's the end. And I know you're thinking, wow, that sounds like the most fun thing I've ever seen. And you're right. It was 30 minutes, and every single one of those minutes felt like 10 hours. I mean, it'll make your quarantine go by real quickly. I wish that I had not seen Aftermath, which is something that I will say very rarely on this list. I've watched a lot of horrible things this week, but Aftermath was the one that made me feel very, very ill. And the reason that I felt very, very ill, I think, is because overall the theme of the movie movie is like, once you die, that body is just gonna be handed to some guy. And if that guy is like, hey, that's a hot body you got there, he could just do that. He could just sort of fuck that body and no one would get mad at him. It's bad to not have people mad at people who have sex with bodies. Necrophilia is bad, actually. I know that that's not controversial, but necrophilia sucks. Don't do that. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah, haven't you figured it out yet? Don't you know who you are? You are the new Messiah, the Antichrist.
Time for a movie that I am in love with. It's Exterminator City.
The murders bear all his hallmarks.
I say, you never met your plate sassy, did you?
No, sir.
Well, you could talk him apart screw by screw.
I know Vaca's history.
I won't make you permanently out of action.
So look, when I was putting this list together, I was like, okay, I can do impossible movies that are like fucked up and bad and everybody will watch them and be like, this is the worst thing. Or I could give people legitimately a fun little challenge where if they watch this, then, you know, maybe they'll die or maybe they'll think it's great. So the one movie that I put on this list that I felt like was the total saving grace is Exterminator City. A movie where a creepy weirdo made puppets in his basement and then had those puppets stab porn stars that he knew. Exterminator City takes place in a wonderful world where women do not know how to wear clothes and robots love to kill women.
Fuck you.
It's a great time, especially if you love mumbling, philosophical dialogue, and curse words. Here's just the greatest sword fight scene in cinema history.
What do you hope to accomplish by this? Kinda takes the edge off.
People legitimately are sleeping on Exterminator City, and this is just maybe a little bit of a reward. Maybe this isn't entirely impossible. I find it to be an impossible movie. I think that it is extremely unwatchable, but in a way where it is significantly funnier than any bad movie you've ever seen if you can continue to watch it. At some point, the sort of ramping up of puppet murder happens so frequently that you're seeing even the same porn star that was killed in the prior scene killed again, but by a different puppet, or even the same puppet. They don't even give a fuck anymore.
Mrs. Walker. We understand you're a victim of severe mental and physical trauma.
And it does that for about an hour and a half, and if you can stomach it, it's fucking hysterical. Look, I'm not gonna do this if it's just gonna be misery. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, yeah, and this movie is about a woman getting hacked apart. I wanted to include something fun in there, so this is my fun one. Let's move on.
What you're seeing now is a quick freezing experiment at minus 196 degrees.
So, Men Behind the Sun and Black Sun the Nanking Massacre are two films about war crime. Here's a war crime, check it out, sure sucks. So, if you've never seen a movie about war crimes, such as something like Night and Fog, for instance, which is also on this list, I guess we can throw in a little recommendation for Night and Fog. It's a Holocaust documentary and it sucks to look at. Don't look at it, it's 30 minutes long. Men Behind the Sun is a dramatized version of a lot of the bad, horrible, very bad things that happened during World War II. They're sucks. They're bad to see. Sucks dick to look at. Don't check it out. Cancelled. In Black Sun the Nanking Massacre, a woman has her baby ripped out and thrown around. Why? because there isn't a god. Have you noticed? I certainly have. Both of these revolve around Japanese war crimes, and they're both very ugly. While Black Sun the Nanking Massacre obviously has some sort of maybe lesser sensibilities, I mean, mostly it's a bunch of mass shootings, just people running and then like guns and then they all fall down, which is very convincing, very sad. I'm not belittling how horrible this tragedy must have been, but the movie is a little less interesting than Men Behind the Sun, the first one, which is about weird military experimentation and how absolutely disgusting it was. It sucks to look at, but at the same time, Men Behind the Sun is also unfortunate because of animal violence, which is going to be a running theme in this video. People like to hurt animals for no reason. In so many movies that are on these lists, poor innocent animals that had nothing going on with them apparently had to die. It sucks. I don't like to see that. Men Behind the Sun is no different. There's a moment where a poor cat is no longer. Rest in peace, that cat. That's the only thing I felt bad about in the film Men Behind the Sun, when the cat died. Everything else made me feel nothing or sick.
You're a woman and you know nothing at all.
Threads. Jesus fucking Christ. This is my job. I have to come up here and I have to make this funny. I have to be fun. People have very high standards for what they want from their fucked up movie lists. I have to be fun. I have to be funny. I have to smile and look good. I know I do.
Do you feel better now that you got that off your chest?
I do. Let's go.
Talk about
It's
Threads.
time for Threads.
Alright, Threads.
Warm Jägermeister is disgusting. Threads is a movie about nuclear war. The English had a very big fear of nuclear war happening to them, and so do I.
Hell.
The movie Threads is about the end of the world in a very comically similar way to how it is the end of the world now. People get their faces melted off and it sucks to see. People don't have food and the government's just like, sorry, fuck ya. I guess you just have to lay there with your face melted off. It's really unfortunate to see. The BBC did something horribly terrible with the movie Threads, except that it's really good and it probably brings up a lot more social issues than my show ever will. Let me tell you what, I sure do not want to live through that nuclear holocaust thing. That would suck a bunch of butt.
We're gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around beside you.
Like and subscribe.
Oh, hi, baby. Oh, my goodness. Hello. Hi, Mama. Thank you for visiting. Hello.
Cindy, honey, what are you doing? What are you doing, baby? Why are you on my lap right now? Honey, what are you doing? I'm trying to edit. The people gotta get the video, Cindy. The people need it.
Say hello, Cindy. Oh, she's leaving. Okay, that's a... Oh, no. Do it. Oh, look at this baby. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, I love her so much. Oh, she doesn't know about any fucked up movies at all. Meow. 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 Hi, Mama. Give me a meow. 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 Meow.
Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down.
Angel's Melancholy. Well, I thought it was cute. I thought it was sweet. I thought it was sweet how all the friends got together and they were like, we're friends and we're gonna go frolic through some fields. Maybe we'll do some bathroom on each other. Oops, that animal has to die. Hello, I watched Angel's Melancholy, which definitely puts me on some kind of list. Angel's Melancholy is a boring, miserable experience for 3 hours nearly. The first 16 hours hours of the film is people wandering around the woods, stumbling around and philosophizing until 30 minutes before the end of the movie, they all decide to get into one room and shit all over each other's dick and vomit on each other and kill each other, and that's the film. Angel's Melancholy! The most unpleasant viewing experience that you maybe have ever had. I legitimately don't understand how many of the performers in the movie were able to do the things. The things. This movie is so nasty. It's the grossest movie since the last movie I talked about. It's probably the closest to what I would consider to be an unwatchable movie on this list.
Ein Misstrauen gegenüber allen weltlichen Dingen. Auch den Menschen gegenüber stellte sich ein.
I can see like 99% of people shutting this off. Begotten is 95% of people, so that's my sort of ratio of comparison. So if you're willing to check out a 2.5 hour long boring movie which you can nap through the majority of it and still have no fucking idea what's going on, at the end of it you get to enjoy an orgy of shit. Angel's Melancholy! Let's go to... where are we going now? Oh, what an adventure this has been. Singapore Sling! Singapore Sling is a movie that I would proudly own on Blu-ray but never ever discuss with anybody who came and asked what it was.
First rule, he's already told them to me. First rule, the servant may not injure his master right or through an action allow his master to come to harm and so forth. Good.
Singapore Sling is a black and white neo-noir film about a group of women who live in a castle, and then a man shows up and they vomit on him, and that's the movie. It's shot in this beautiful way, but I 1000% guarantee that all the vomit is very real in the movie, and they do just vomit on him. There is so much vomiting on him that I cannot take it anymore. Seriously, a good 70% of the movie is somebody peeing on this guy or vomiting on this guy, and I don't understand, like, number one, empathy for the guy, right? He's gotta lay there and just go, yep, I get vomit on me and that's my take, that's what I do. On the other hand, the actress has to actually fucking do it, and that's almost worse. How did they even film this? Like, there are multiple moments where they cut away and there's like real vomit on both shots. Which means what? How many takes did they do of this? Like, what's happening?
And can voice Indians on this down in the pig.
I think that's the ultimate thing that you ask yourself when watching some movies, specifically Singapore Sling. How did this movie happen? It's great, it's hilarious. Listen, I'm not correcting the movie. Singapore Sling is about two queens who vomit on a guy, and it's pretty fucking great. But how the fuck did this happen? I don't understand. We're gonna move on now.
What does it feel like to strangle somebody?
How the hell do I know?
Because you strangled the nurse.
I did not.
It's time for Just Melvin. Do I fucking... what is this? What is this prison I'm trapped in? Just Melvin. Fuck you.
He shouldn't be alive.
Are you afraid to tell me the truth?
No, I ain't afraid to tell you the truth. But you're afraid to learn the goddamn truth.
No, I'd love to learn the truth.
Well, then let's go back to the car. Let's go back to the car, cocksucker.
Just Melvin is a documentary about a pedophile. At the end, they walk up to the child molester guy and they're like, hey, fucko, you fucking did this. And he's like, oh, fuck you. And that's the movie.
Do you remember giving Jerry and her friends tampons to have sex with them?
No.
Why did you do that?
I didn't do that, son of a bitch. Now shut it up. Now.
Are you telling me to lift my shirt up so that I don't show the audience my boobs during the child molester documentary conversation?
I think that'd probably be best.
Can we talk about Warm Jägermeister not being great?
I can fix that.
shit. Violent shit. With K, the butcher shitter. Hi, violent shit. Is a movie that someone made, and I like the humor that they have about the thing that they've done. Violent shit is violent and shit. I mean, the most accurate description easily of any of the movies on this list. It does not fuck around. Angel's Melancholy? What's that about? Flowers of Flesh and Blood? Ooh, sounds interesting. Violent shit is violent shit, and that's all you get, so fuck you. Violent shit is great. There's a guy named Kay the Butcher Shitter who comes around and he'll butcher ya, or he'll shitter. If you saw my previous video, very comparable to Las Vegas Bloodbath or perhaps Exterminator City, like very low budget, like a piece of shit movie, mixed with like some horrible violence that finds its way in there in like a really awful way. So violent shit is kind of notable in the unwatchable movie territory for being kind of surprisingly watchable. I kind of liked it. It was kind of my favorite, to be honest with you. I would like to go on the record and say that I am a big fan of Kay the Butcher Shitter.
Son of a bitch.
Uh-oh, it's Lucio Fulci, bitch! So, The New York Ripper is very well known for being like a serial killer movie that is like very traditional in the sense of serial killer movies that one would probably see in like sleazy 70s and 80s filmmaking. Think like Maniac or something, which would also be a fairly good candidate for this list. But The New York Ripper is fairly well known for being super duper, super fucked up in every imaginable way and is fucking horrible to watch. So I watched it. The most notable part about it, I would say, is probably a really interesting scene where someone publicly humiliates a woman's vagina with toes.
You like it, huh?
Really?
What else is notable about the New York Ripper, you might be asking? And they really do like a sort of mystery thing with it for the majority of the movie. Who is the New York Ripper? And they lead you down different avenues of who it could possibly be, and interspersed is just scenes of really awful people getting cut up in really gruesome ways. It's sort of like the other movies on this list in that there's a lot of people getting cut up and there's not a lot of justification as to why. And it's fine. The New York Ripper is fine. The end. So swapping over to something a little bit lighter, it's a comedy film. I've heard that it's a comedy, but no one can tell me the truth. It's Trash Humpers. A movie about people that, you guessed it, hump trash. Now in the cursed and horribly unwatchable territory that a lot of these movies find themselves in, I would call Trash Humpers kind of a crowning achievement. I dare you, you son of a bitch, sit down and try to watch it. Do it! I bet you won't watch it as many times as I have. I've seen this movie like 5 fucking times, all the way through, and I don't remember anything about it at all. It's a movie where people fuck the garbage. For serious though, but super serious though, Harmony Korine is the director. He also directed Gummo, which I would like to also cover in this series thing that I'm doing. He directed Trash Humpers as a practical joke to like take this like nightmare DVD that he's made of people fucking the garbage and replacing it with like Jerry Maguire or some shit at Blockbuster. But unfortunately, the movie cost money and had to be released by a major studio somehow. Someone convinced him that we all had to see it.
Damn.
Right up behind
This
you.
dude danced his last dance, for God's sake. God damn.
The movie's general idea is that like there was like a gang of people that walked around and just looked in people's houses in the middle of the night wherever Harmony Korine was growing up. Hell, probably, based on all of his movies. So this movie is kind of like about the people that are out like when we're all sleeping. Like, who are those fucking people? Like, what are they doing out there? Like, why do they roam around? Are they fucking the garbage? Like, what could they be doing? And we all have someone like that in our neighborhood, I'm sure. I mean, maybe not.
Cause if you ever tractor wheel went off me right here, went off my head, I'm sure that. You lay 2 fingers on the tractor cleat right there.
So Trash Humpers, it's interesting trash for you to fuck. The next movie is In a Glass Cage. Oh god. The reality of what I'm about to talk about, like, it's there. I can't do anything about it.
Yo, Klaus, amo la muerte.
This is a movie about a person who's in an iron lung. Now that person was a Nazi child molester. Anyway, one of the victims of said child molester comes back for a little bit of the old ultra-violence and revenge, but he does it in like a weird way and I don't like it. So the way that the kid does it to the man in the iron lung who has no ability to stop him is he kills other children and basically replicates all of his crimes. He wants to like be him. It's very weirdly sexual. Remember the part where he masturbated on his motionless head? I do. He does a lot of things that are suspect, but at the end of the day it is revenge, and that never makes sense anyway. The movie's gross, and your mom will love you for showing it to her. She will be like, oh my god, girls, the History Channel showed the greatest movie. I was watching Lifetime, and oh my god, they had the best original movie.
Estoy muy sucio. No me vas a lavar hoy tampoco.
Thanks, dude. This whole time I thought we were friends.
But you ain't got no friends.
Better not.
I'm your friend.
Well, maybe I don't have any fucking friends, because you guys fucking murdered them all.
Oh, here you
And damn, you guys
go.
even killed Muffy.
The last movie is highly requested. It's directed by Flying Lotus, and it's called Kuso. Kuso's sort of a combined, wonderful bouquet of all the shit that we've been talking about already, but put through a filter called good. If you like fucked up movies and you haven't seen Kuso, might I recommend it? It is surprisingly good, but it is also like fucked up in the way that all the other movies are fucked up. It's like taking fucked up movies as a thing and molded it into this beautiful ball of bullshit for you. It's really good. I really like it. There's an interdimensional creature that performs an abortion. Someone shits on someone's face, and Jimmy Screamer Claus returns valiantly to the animation studio. That is where the dead go to die boy. He returned to melt our minds with animated sequences in this film, which I hated to see. I don't know what it is about Jimmy, but I kind of am respecting him more every moment. Jimmy, it's time to give me a call. I'm a-waitin'. I just got my first feature gig, and I would be so cheap for your movie. Cast me. But no, Kuso's nasty, and like so many people that I like and respect are in it.
So when you pray, you cannot walk around. No one will ever save you. Once you're dead, then you're dead. There is no coming back.
This is probably like the most contemporary fucked up movie. I think Kuso is probably the last one, and it's really good. I wish more people would make movies that make me feel like Kuso, which is like grossed out, upset, and really not into it. I like movies that are like that, and Kuso really delivers.
We ain't murder nobody, B. We, just sent them somewhere else.
Exactly.
What? You banished them?
I mean, we didn't, but okay, well, yeah, we banished them. We banished them.
But they got jobs.
That completes today's episode of cursed fucking nightmare shit that I have to watch because of my job. I hate it. Oh my god, the next episode is gonna be so bad. I'm gonna have to watch like the August Underground movies, like all of them, and the Slaughtered Vomit Dolls movies. One of them is called Tumbling Vomit of Flesh.
Tumbling Doll of Flesh.
Tumbling Doll of Flesh. That sounds like shit. There are so many bad ones. Like, I have to just read off a couple of these. And also, please send me your suggestions in the comments below if you'd like to see me cover one in the future. But here's some bullshit. We're gonna watch the fucking Cremaster Cycle, the 12-hour movie about balls, if we can find it. Cannibal, the movie from the Angel's Melancholy guy that he did that's like the same. It's like that. They're all like that. Why is he like that? He just sucks. I don't like Marion. Listen, cast me. I'm saying I would do a lot of things, but I don't know if I would do a lot of the things that happen in the end. Maybe I could be a secretary of some kind for but a scene. I don't want to be in a Marion Dora movie. Oh my god. We got a lot of bullshit ahead. So I hope that you're enjoying this series. Please let me know if you are by giving this video a like, and also consider subscribing to the hottest new channel, but also the hottest girl on the internet. Hello. This means I'm a slut. We've got all kinds of horrible things to show you, little one. Goodbye. On Patreon, support me. On Patreon, support me. On Patreon.
Haunted grooves and spooky rhymes. Let me ask you if you all have the time to continue watching and support us on Patreon. Also, did you know that Nick Spheres makes music? You should look at it.
Hey, hi. So have you seen Marianne yet? It's real good. It's a show on Netflix. I don't know what I was expecting. Turns out, scary as shit. So, I've been a witch. Thank you. This has been my YouTube channel.
Hey.
Oh god.
Do you know anything about something called Hell House LLC?
No. Fuck is that?
So it's a movie that's called a found footage.
Oh, like my favorite film, Cannibal Holocaust.
Actually, yeah. I get that reference.
Weird. I haven't seen anything like that in like 2,000 years. I'm a witch.
Well, would you put your silly camera away and come watch it with me?
Oh, okay, sure. Can I take my camera though? We're friends.
Okay, fine. Fine.
Breaking news just reaching us now. Tragedy at a Halloween haunted house in Abaddon.
You said there were 3 of these?
Yes.
The owner was supposed to have hung himself in here.
Oh, what? Oh, when did that shit happen? You didn't mention that, Alex.
And these are real movies?
Yes.
I guess what the story is things kept happening to the guests here that forced them to shut the place down.
Whoa. Hold up. What happened to the guest?
Horror? These are horror movies?
Oh, yeah.
Whoa, shit, dude. What's up, man? What are you looking at? Holy fuck.
All right.
Part 1. Welcome to the Thunderdome, bitch. Hell House LLC is the wildest fucking series of horror films I've seen in quite some time. It's really good, and it's pretty scary, and I actually really like it. And I know that I currently sound like I'm being ironic, but I actually genuinely think it's pretty cool. I think I'll like it quite a bit. It's this amazing balancing act of walking a tightrope whilst brushing your teeth. Like, you know that's doomed for failure, but watching it succeed is kind of like watching your cat fly a kite. Okay, so I think I've definitely fucked up some metaphors, but you get my point. It's really neat and you should watch it.
We have no business being here. Alex is more confident than ever.
I think we're next.
Go back up!
The first film is so fucking magical. It's just got this contained energy of a movie that's happening to people that genuinely don't think they're in a movie. Like, they're building this haunted house and they have hopes and dreams and they don't want to let them go. They sense that something's wrong, but they power through it. And like, we've all been there, to believe in something so much that we just ignore how much it hurts us. And I mean, there's also all these creative scare bits that you just gotta love.
Holy
fuck.
shit. Holy shit!
Like, this clown that moves around on its own and it's real subtle, like not violently attacking the screen yet. And it's just unsettling. Like, the idea of a mannequin moving around on its own is horrifying. And yeah, there's a dumb ending. And a lot of dumb stuff. Okay, the movie's dumb. But I don't feel guilty for calling it a horror movie I would dig rewatching with friends. It's a good fucking movie. Whatever. And then, you know, we do the bit, there's the credits roll on the screen because we reached the conclusion so early in the video. But no, the video's actually still going on. There's gonna be more video coming next. But okay, for real. Actually, I think I have more to say. I don't know, it's weird. And, you know, we like to indulge in weird around here. It's a lot better than looking at whatever is on the news right now. Fuck that! Okay, so this video is about the film, yes, but it's also about, the pleasure center that is watching this series of movies get its training wheels taken off. And I don't think I've ever seen anything go so fast off the fucking rails. It's unbelievable what someone can get done when they don't give a heck. No hecks here. None at all. The second movie is baffling in how it takes all that the first is and just makes it Just bafflingly stupid. And then the third just decides to own its own decisions and just go. You thought that was wild. Hold my fucking beer. It's a hell of a thing to sit down and try to talk about. Because it's crazy, the lineage of this film. It's gonna blow your mind. You're gonna love it. So put on your pants. So, you know, I could talk about, like, some cool behind-the-scenes stuff, or, you know, things the movie does really effectively, or neat. You know, like a review of a movie on the internet. But no. Instead, I'm literally just gonna gush about the movies because they're buck fucking wild, and it's gonna blow your mind, and maybe at the end we'll all be a little bit older and we'll go get ourselves a pack of smokes. Here goes nothing. Part 2, Hell House LLC, a recap. Okay, so like, I gotta preface this decision a bit. I'm gonna talk about the good one, the really great one, but unfortunately it's confusing as shit if you haven't seen the first two. So in order to do this, I'm gonna have to like do a little recap. So, lightning round. Hell House LLC. So, there's a haunted hotel called the Abaddon. Cool. Then some jackass buys the haunted house and turns it into, drumroll, a haunted house. He hires some folks to come work on it and tells them that no, the house is not haunted. Y'all just chill the fuck out. Then it turns out that the haunted house is haunted, but not in the way that you would think. Like, there's a clown mannequin that moves around maliciously, and it's so very scary, but also really strange for a ghost to do. So they say, boy, this sure is scary. Anyways, back to work on our haunted house. So a couple people die, but then it's opening night, and they did it. It almost goes off without a hitch, but then demons get vomited out of a hell pit that the house apparently was built upon, so they murder everyone in the world. Seriously, a whole bunch of people die. Just a lot of people. Just so many people die. So then it turns out that the camera crew that was making the documentary about Hell House LLC goes to investigate, and then they also fucking die. Hell House LLC 2. Go fuck yourself. This movie is very bad. So there's a kid, and then that kid does a stupid and goes into the haunted hotel, and then he dies. So a documentary crew is like, hey, that's weird. I wonder if there's something spooky going on over at the old Abaddon. Let's take a closer look. Then they... Okay, so... Alright, you're gonna have to try, like, your best to follow this here, because I'm not gonna be able to repeat myself. So watch the next part of the video as many times as you need to, but it's complicated. Simultaneously, there's a crew of people that go to the hotel to find some lost tapes from the original haunting that might have new footage of scary shit. Whilst there is a news story and a panel about the haunted hotel on TV where they debate about the authenticity of the haunting. Now get this. There are people on the panel that are also at the hotel at the same time. But that's not really revealed until the end, and oh bitch, we'll get there. And oh bitch, we'll get there. So, oh Jesus, there's a string of multiple disappearances at the hotel over the years, and in watching them we discover a few things. Number one, the hotel is sentient and trying to kill the world. Two, it breeds this weird compulsion to film it in anyone with a camera, which is a nice excuse as to why everyone keeps filming in this found footage film. It is actively like Ghostface from Scream, where it calls people and like lures them to their doom. Seriously, the ghost calls people and is like, hey, it's the Abaddon Hotel. Do you want to come over? And then everybody's like, wow, that sounds like a great idea. And number 4, the personification of the hotel is literally this old, weird John Waters looking guy, who I guess is like the devil of some kind. Anyway, he looks an awful lot like the person on the news show that's going on simultaneously. Oh, that's kind of neat that the hotel can just sort of do that shit. Wow. So people go into the hotel, they find some shit, learn all these fun factoids about the house. They get scared. Then they realize the hotel is actually haunted and they can't leave. And then they have a conversation with the hotel man who arrives out of a literal hellhole. And then the movie just kind of shits its pants and ends. It's a great movie to watch because, like, you go through the whole movie and you don't know what the fuck is happening. And then all of a sudden it's like, it was this. This is what you watched. And then you're just sort of like, oh, neat. Moving on. Part 3, Hell House LLC. The third one. Now I know what you're saying because I can read your fucking mind. May, how is it that there is a third Hell House LLC film and it's somehow the best one? How could it get better than the second one? You might be asking yourself. Well, okay. So listen to this. The story of Hell House LLC, The Lake of Fire, that's literally what it's called, is this. The news crew from the second movie decides to follow up on the hotel and make a documentary film about the Abaddon. Mean the fuck while, this weird rich guy that compiled the footage from the second film, Russell Wynn, a prolific theater artist, decides to buy the hotel and turn it into a live interactive theater piece called Insomnia. It's a recounting of Faust where you, like, literally enter heaven and hell along with the characters. Ooh, look at this! I'm doing a magic spell of reading your fucking mind again, and now you're asking, how is it that someone would make what is functionally a haunted house inside a haunted hotel where a haunted house previously was housed? That killed 15 people? And yeah, I have no fucking idea. Well, I guess we'll just hold hands with the movie and let it take us on a magical quest. And it goes places. Essentially, this film plays as a fresher, kind of scarier remake of the first one, but with the compounding weight of all this lore that just kind of crushes your skull. And if it isn't scarier for you, I don't know, maybe that's because by this point you already know all the scares they're gonna do, because they literally just do them again. It comes across as the same movie, but instead written by a drunk person at your local bar that has a great idea for the House of Leaves sequel. The way this movie constantly reminds us that the hotel has a reputation for killing, like, a lot of people seems kind of suspect. Like, how is it that such ghost crime can take place in broad fucking daylight and just no one gets involved? And people keep interacting with the house, although, like, everyone knows you will absolutely be murdered by ghosts. And they encourage you to film it. The ghost will take the footage from you after it finishes killing you and email it to your mom. That literally fucking happens in the opening scene of the film. And without a doubt, watching this happen is compelling as hell. I mean, how could one not find a movie about a guy making the same mistake as a ton of other people kind of baffling and also sort of amazing? But then it goes further somehow. You see, it turns out the guy that put on Insomnia did it so he could open the hell portal and then pass through it so he could set all the ghosts free from the previous two films. And I know you're kind of wondering here, so I'll just tell you, it's great news. They do, in fact, film that part. So, like, there's literally a found footage scene from the perspective of, like, what? The afterlife? How the hell did this footage find its way back to, I don't know, Earth? Part 4, what have we learned today, children? Listen, these movies aren't that well loved. Shit, they aren't even that good. Bad. They're probably bad. But listen, that doesn't mean they aren't kind of awesome too. I mean, shit happens in these movies. Like a lot. The scares are plenty and fairly awesome, specifically the shit with the clown. Oh my god. Babe.
Yeah?
We never figured out why there was a clown. They didn't tell us. I will happily take a series that's like a lot of fun and really interesting
and it's kind of fucking weird over something that's moody but uninteresting. Something I guess I'm realizing about myself is that I prefer things like this. I actually think that the imperfections make this series a lot more interesting. I like that it's a fucked up mess. Because in the end, like, it's a series that has awful, dumb shit like this, but also genuinely amazing scares like this. And I love how no matter what, the movie never reveals itself to be any kind of stupid joke. It gets more and more ridiculous and overcomplicated until it's gone far beyond the realm of being silly, but it just keeps a straight face. It just loves what it's doing to you. This series, this one here, is an endless commitment to the bit.
I know there probably will not be another one of these in the world, but part of me really wants one. I want to watch people try to rationalize another extended sequence of people dying by hotel. I want it to be, like, more complicated. Like, shoot for the fucking moon. I want more dummies moving around. I want more wide-eyed white people. I want it to be more of a mess. Please.
But I guess after characters going literally to heaven, where else is there even to go? Space is the answer to space. I want it. I want it real bad. Fuck that movie.
Hey, this was really magical. Thank you for sharing this with me. Papu? You fall asleep? Good night.
Well, hello, darkness, my old friend. Looks like we got ourselves in a little bit of a sticky situation out there, don't we, girls? During this time of quarantine, one must have a nice, convenient list of things to do. So while we all suffer here with our horrible anxiety, begging ourselves for distractions, I have taken the liberty of compiling us a list 50 movies that I would consider horrifically distracting during this apocalypse that we're all dealing with here. But before we start, I should say, This is going to be, you know, a generally kind of weird all over the place list. This is a list of movies meant to distract us, not necessarily meant to always entertain. Most of them aren't even good, but quite a few of them are. You're going to leave this list feeling like you have a greater knowledge of the true horrors of cinema. This is 50 movies to distract yourself from the apocalypse. Let's get started.
Safe and secure from all.
Night of the Hunter is absolutely fucking horrifying. The movie stars Robert Mitchum as a murder priest who wants to kill babies. The movie's main characters are the babies, which have to run away from the murder man. It looks like Nosferatu, and it sounds like it too. And that was a silent movie. You don't need an awful lot more than that.
I have a hard time concentrating.
You are a true believer. Blessings of this day.
Please forgive me.
Blessings of the masses. Thou art a subject of the divine, created in the image of man.
THX 1138 is the movie that proves that George Lucas is kind of interesting. We've had a really weird and kind of bad conversation about him over the last decade, and I don't like it very much. But I do like THX 1138. It's a movie about a dystopian future that basically we're already living in, where wanted criminals can just leave jail if, you know, they just want to. And police will stop chasing them if the budget gets a little bit too high. But then again, what makes a criminal in this society? Well, having sex. Don't do that ever again. But I know that during this apocalypse, probably a solid half of these movies are gonna get shut off for you to go have sex. And that's okay with me. If this is your first introduction to this film, might I let you know that I think it is a comedy? It's a really funny and entertaining film that has fantastic music, a lot of spooky social commentary about the nature of the music industry being completely exploitational, and let me tell you, that's true. But it also features prominent horror elements. Great performances. Jessica Harper, pre-Suspiria, is in this film, and it's raining outside, and that's kind of loud. In all honesty, Phantom of the Paradise is probably my favorite movie, so, you know, do it for me. Do it for me. My boy Ricky gets locked up in prison, so he has to fight a whole bunch of just big boys. Different boys, fighting boys, all kinds of boys, really. And the one common factor that brings all of these boys together, beyond the fact that they love violence, is the fact that they're all bleeders. Holy shit. We're talking an absolute bloodbath. Everyone in this movie dies horribly, getting their arms removed and then put back inside their body, people having their organs removed, and then being choked to death with them. This movie is fucking insane, and it sure is the perfect distraction for what's going on outside. Tyler Perry is the greatest filmmaker that ever graced this earth. His oldest film is his best film, which is often overlooked. Diary of a Mad Black Woman is the most baffling and bizarre film that you will probably ever see in your life.
I ain't scared no popo, call the popo ho. Call the popo ho.
And there's really not a lot more to say about that, is there? Mandy is a movie that is several different genres at once, but the majority of it is a complete anime. If you like anime, Nicolas Cage, debatably good performances, fucked up atmosphere, and horrible violence, then you're going to love Mandy. I think Nicolas Cage gives one of the best performances of his career. He appears on this list many, many times, so get ready for that. So, you know, what in the world could possibly be scarier than the rapid spread of a growing disease? Well, a rapid spread of a growing lion population. Hurry! Melanie! Roar is the story of a bunch of people who decided they want to make a movie, but they didn't train the lions. The whole movie is an absolute torture chamber of people getting mauled by lions. And I don't even mean what the movie's about, because there is no movie. You can't even watch it. It's just a sequence of people nearly getting ripped apart by lions. It's great. I totally forgot about everything.
Hello, Sal's Pizza. Yep. Meatball Hero, eggplant parmesan, we got it. Yeah, we deliver. Of course we deliver. All right. Where's that?
Classic Spike Lee film. Seriously though, its approach to filmmaking is fascinating and amazing. It has a free-flowing jazz-like structure. It changes so rapidly, but in such an interesting and dynamic way. And Spike Lee plays the main character, and he's great. I mean, everybody knows this is great, right? I don't need to talk about it anymore. But everybody should see it, and I don't think that enough people have seen it, and that is why it made the list. Because it's time, you're home alone, you can't leave. Now's the fucking time. Watch Do the Right Thing. You literally have no excuse now.
Mrs. Hinkle, are you insane?
No, I'm not, you motherfucker!
Mrs. Hinkle, I find you guilty of contempt, and I sentence you to a $1,000 fine and 5 days in jail. Lock her up!
Sucker! You lousy pig fucker!
John Waters is great. I love everything he does. But Serial Mom's kinda the one. Anybody can watch Serial Mom and love it. It's about a woman who is absolutely insane and does a bunch of murders. The problem is she's also like a housewife. And who could forget Kathleen Turner's wonderful, wonderful performance in this moment here.
Hello?
Is this the cocksucker residence?
God damn you, stop calling here!
We stand. So y'all like Old Boy, and Old Boy is real cool, and everybody's seen Old Boy, but a lot of people missed out on the movie that really solidified Park Chan-wook as an incredible filmmaker to me, The Handmaiden. This movie is rich, vibrant, constantly evolving to the point where every time you feel like you've caught up with it, actually no, you haven't caught up with it. And it features one of the most authentic love stories that I've ever seen in a movie. If you want to replace all your bad feelings with good feelings, might I recommend you watch The Handmaiden and feel good feelings. They are still out there, y'all. You can still feel good feelings right now. Unfortunately, they have to be dripped into your IV, but they're there.
我真係冇出賣海叔㗎，即係有啦。
Yas, bitch, it's time for a big shooty shootout movie. Hard-Boiled is probably the most extreme gun violence film ever made, and it's also got this whimsy to it where it doesn't really feel intimidating. It doesn't feel like, ooh, scary, everybody's shooting each other. It feels like, ooh, awesome, everybody's shooting each other. And it's directed by John Woo, and in my opinion, it's kind of tops as far as John Woo. There's not a lot of movies that he's made that really come close to quite how fucking insane this movie is.
大丈夫。幻想が実体化するなんてありえないもの。
Such Satoshi Kon's Perfect Blue is the movie Black Swan, but good. It features some pretty stellar animations, some absolutely horrifying imagery, and an ending that will blow this top part of your skull off of your skull, metaphorically. You won't need to be taken care of medically for that. And afterward, the thing you want the most in the entire world is a cigarette. Let's move on.
Pero había un hálito de maldad dentro de ella, listo para revivir y atacar a seres inocentes. Eso solo podría ser la obra de lo que ustedes llaman el demonio.
This accidental lesbian representation is a movie that is Dracula spelled backwards, and it doesn't have anything to do with Dracula at all. It's about two women at a nunnery who discovered the devil and his wonderful charms, and then they go off and begin doing devil shit, like blowing up nuns with their mind and setting fire to a church, again, with their mind. You sure will like it. There's a goat man in it. So, Christopher Walken. There was a time when he was kind of a sassy boy, but specifically in the movie Communion. He is a sassy boy who plays Whitley Strieber, a guy who claims to have seen and interacted with aliens, like from another planet. So, if you're imagining Christopher Walken partying with aliens, then congratulations, that is exactly what you get.
I'm gonna do a trick. Look at this. Empty, right?
The movie is literally Christopher Walken partying with aliens. And let me tell you, at a time like this, I sure would like to be partying with some aliens.
Molly, could you bring that flashlight over here? I want to see how big it is. Fuck you. You want a knuckle sandwich?
Oh, can I have mine anally, please?
Come on, you guys, stop. Jesus. Hey, is everybody here? Let's go, let's line it up.
What are you looking at, bitch?
It's fucking Showgirls, dog.
What are friends for?
It's from the director of RoboCop. Yeah.
But of course I can prove nothing. This Mother Superior may be little more than a hysterical nun.
But if it is a genuine case of possession by devils, and if Grandier himself was proved to be involved, then yes, I think it bears investigation, gentlemen.
This widely talked about but little seen Ken Russell directed film is quite possibly the most shocking movie ever made about religion. It has an interesting bent on how politics and religion kind of get tangled up in a very scary and weird way. And it features a great performance by literal violent crazy man Oliver Reed.
Why people do repeated murders, serial murders.
Well, then why did Ratty and Mole in the Wind and the Willows form a love affair? They went in there and got the stuff out in the
Ollie, you're a lovely man, but let me in.
He took breaks between shots of the movie to do literal shots and beat people up. Also, there's a scene where a nun fucks a candle. Also, there's a scene where a nun fucks human bones. One of the nuns ends up being transgender and no one knew. Same energy. There's a crisis. It's Godzilla, and no one's prepared. Sounds a lot like now times. The raid is quite possibly legendary in certain circles for being the one that really goes there. And let me tell you, yeah, it does. It's horrifically violent, everybody dies, and there's so much violence. Did I mention the violence? It is wall-to-wall, non-stop, 100% nail-biting violence. And if that doesn't distract you from what's going on, then I don't know what will. The Killer is an awkwardly poetic film directed by John Woo, which also features horrific gun violence. But not in like the hard-boiled way where it's fun, but like in the really emotionally stringent way. The Killer is one of a kind, and it feels like the only movie that's ever really made me feel that way, whatever that means.
Love me. What I'm really interested in is love.
Icon. Icon. Oh, bitch. Yeah, that's right. You stabbed that guy. You can put on that wig, bitch, but you're never gonna be her. Revenge is stupid, and it goes on forever, and there's never really a moment where you go, I feel good about the revenge that I've done and now I can finish. Somebody made a movie about that. Basically, it's a nearly 3-hour-long movie where someone just gets revenge for something over and over and over and over again, but never actually kills the person, just keeps getting revenge, and just keeps getting that revenge, and you just keep getting that revenge. And the best thing about it is that it's endless. I worry that people are gonna think this is a joke video, but I mean this.
Don't be afraid, Wes. Nobody wants to harm you. Nobody wants to kill you. You're one of them. And you too, Sonya. It's horrible.
Literally, I don't fucking know. It's cool looking. Just check it out. It's like Nicholas Winding Refn's favorite movie, and I have a feeling that's probably because he's colorblind. That's true, by the way. Nicholas Winding Refn is colorblind. That's why his movies are all so vibrant, because he can't see color. Hot take, I think that Simon Barrett and Adam Wingard's movies are good. All of them. Sorry. She's crazy. She likes weird movies.
Oh, you drink that? Yep.
The Guest is a movie about a man who might be a cyborg, definitely might be doing Terminator 2 shit behind everybody's back, and it's fucking lit. But what if he was also charming as shit and kind of hot? It's another Satoshi Kon movie, and it's kind of like Inception, which people have said, but except it's good. Unfortunately, Satoshi Kon is no longer with us, but the movies that he left behind are fantastic, and I very much look forward to seeing Millennium Actress one day. This is mostly a recommendation for Paprika, which is fucking awesome. It's also kind of a quiet recommendation for that other one, Millennium Actress.
The full moon became like blood. And the great mountain burning with fire, was thrown into the sea.
So earlier I mentioned Ken Russell. Did you know that his movies are all weird? Altered States is about somebody who takes a whole lot of drugs and then they de-evolve back to their primordial state. Then they run around as a primordial human, causing a whole bunch of problems. But I know you would think that would be just the dumbest thing, but actually it's really long and slow and tedious and really interesting. There's a moment in it where somebody goes into a deprivation chamber and is on some sort of horrific hallucinogenic drug. I kind of feel that. Let's all get in one of those. Like and subscribe. Upstream color sucks. I'm just kidding. It's fine. Hi, this is the middle part of the video where I tell you that I think you're cute. Just because we're inside all the time now doesn't mean you shouldn't be feeling yourself. Go ahead, wear that makeup, put on those pants. The only entertainment industry that is not currently completely suffering is probably porn. So if you've been thinking about it, now might be the time.
Shut up. Shut your ugly old-time ancient ass up.
Petey Wheatstraw is amazing. First off, if you don't know about Rudy Ray Moore, you need to change that immediately. The man made 4 really iconic and amazing movies that are just kind of now starting to really gain a lot of traction with mainstream people. But the one that you really need to see, in my opinion, is Petey Wheatstraw, which is a movie where apparently he just had some money and decided to do whatever the fuck he wanted.
Yeah? I'm Petey Wheatstraw, the devil's son-in-law.
This movie has karate. This movie has the devil. This movie has everything in it. This movie even has an orgy. Absolutely perfect. If you're looking for a movie that will legitimately surprise you because it shouldn't probably exist, but it does, and that's great, then you should consider checking out P.D. Wheatstraw, the greatest movie ever made. TM. All right, hold the fuck up. Number one, Vin Diesel is King Himbo, a legendary. He's amazing, and I feel really bad that I'm not watching Bloodshot in theaters right now because I'm at home trying not to die. But Triple X3, ooh, that one just never gets bad. The movie opens with him skateboarding down a fucking mountain and it does not let up from there. There's really not a lot to say other than it's absolutely a nightmare from start to finish, and I don't think I've ever laughed as much in a theater in my life.
You ever bleed so much when you open your eyes, all you see is red?
And I don't even know if I'd call the movie like bad in any way. It was just kind of ridiculous, and he skateboards down a fucking mountain. Here we go. That's right. It's dinosaurs from the future come back to the past, to the 80s, and fight some completely uncharismatic people. And also there are Terminators in it that also fight the uncharismatic people. The movie never lets up on being the absolute worst, but also the absolute best. Future War is legendary, at least in this house. Now might be a good time to check out what I would consider to be probably one of the better bad movies that has ever existed, so please watch Future War. Now is the time. Andrei Zulawski's Possession from, I believe, 1981 is a movie starring Sam Neill and Isabelle Adjani. How do I put this in words that make sense? Sam Neill and Isabelle Adjani have a really bad relationship, so they break up. But fortunately for Isabelle Adjani, she's got a backup set up. She gives birth to an awful, awkward demon monster, and that grows up to be a kind of walking Cthulhu being, which she then has sex with all the time. And then it turns back into Sam Neill. It's great. You'll love it. Now you want to talk about the perfect movie that I would consider to be a distracting nightmare of a thing. It's hard to focus on much other than Inland Empire, a movie where quite possibly half of it is a bunch of rabbits sitting around, and it has nothing to do with the movie at all. Also, Laura Dern is in it, and it's shot on a red, but an early red, so if you know anything about cameras, that's like a really early, ugly digital camera, so it's nearly unwatchable. As I said, it's 3 hours long. You're in for a real treat on this one. I think this is the David Lynch movie that even a lot of his fans don't really get or like, which is why it's the perfect one for you now. Challenge yourself this weekend. Challenge yourself. Oh shit, it's time for the obligatory Suspiria/Suspiria remake part of the video. Hello and welcome to In This House We Stand the Suspiria remake, and I genuinely like it a lot more than I like the first movie.
3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1.
The first movie is really colorful. You gotta see it on Blu-ray because those colors really pop. It's really wild to look at, and that's pretty much it. It's really just an art piece to look at for a little bit. You look at Suspiria, you don't watch it so much. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. However, the Suspiria remake has a fantastic story, and Tilda Swinton plays both a woman and a man in the movie. Should be an immediate selling point. It's also double the runtime of the first movie, I think, and is infinitely more horrifying and weird.
Please, come forward.
When I was a child, my mom said, May, Eyes Wide Shut is the worst movie in the entire world. I hate it and I want it destroyed, which is when I knew that I had to check it out. And now I love it. Sorry, Mom. Shout out to Mom. Thanks, Mom. Eyes Wide Shut stars Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, which is probably why my mom didn't like it very much. They have a really bad relationship, and then Tom Cruise goes off on a weird psychosexual adventure. It's awesome. You'll love it. It's great. It's directed by Stanley Kubrick. It's my favorite Kubrick movie. There's a lot of competition. He directed the moon landing.
It's like when you pulled over by the police. Oh, no, I just use my regular voice when that happens. I just say, back the fuck up off the car and don't nobody get out. All right, man, I'm just trying to give you some game.
Sorry to Bother You is directed by Boots Riley, and it is the most fierce, modern takedown of capitalism that I've ever seen. There's really not an awful lot left to say about it other than the fact that the movie basically sells you on the idea that, you know, even if somebody turned you into a dolphin, you'd probably be like, this is fine. We just kind of let things happen to us. That might be relevant. Jacob's Ladder is a movie where reality kind of goes out the window to tell a story about a soldier who has bad memories. I don't really want to spoil it. It's a real surrealist movie and it's really horrifying, and there's a lot of stuff that happens in it that will make you question your own reality, as if you aren't already. Hello, we have arrived at my favorite Jodorowsky movie. I can't wait for everybody to tell me I mispronounced his last name in the comments, like they always do whenever I say it in any different way. Santa Sangre is a movie about a woman that loses her arms, and her son then has to become her arms for reasons, and then he believes that the arms that he has are actually his mother's and not his. When she begins murdering people with his arms, he feels like he's not doing it. Does that make sense? No? Good. You'll love it. There's an elephant burial in the movie for some reason. Fucking nightmare of a list that I've made here today. So Society is directed by Brian Yuzna. I'm probably gonna get a bunch of shit for mispronouncing his name as well in the comments section. Very exciting. It's a movie about how everyone, yes, that's right, everyone, other than you, is secretly a big sex cult blob of rich people who want to bring you into their weird body thing. It makes a lot more sense when you watch the movie, but they really want this kid to assimilate into their society, but he like doesn't want to. So basically the way they show that in the movie is by having his father become a living ass that then walks around. You'll really like this one, let me tell you what.
Okay, line change, let's go.
He thinks I got bit. I trust you, and you blab to the first fuck up that comes along. He knows stuff. He wants to help. He wants to get down your pants, stupid!
Ginger Snaps is a movie about a woman that is discovering her womanhood in high school. But oops, is it womanhood or is it actually that she's a fucking werewolf? Maybe it's both. Catch the excitement.
What are you looking at, huh? My pen exploded, okay? My red pen.
But seriously, it's about two sisters that have a big dividing moment in their close relationship when one of them begins to get their period. It's real intense and oddly sexual.
They need us found, right?
Yeah, almost, man.
I can't take it so seriously. We gotta treat this like paintball.
Speaking of oddly sexual, Green Room is fucking disgusting, and you wouldn't know it because it's a movie about some musicians that get stuck in a green room, but it's a movie about people fighting Nazis. In this house, we like movies about people fighting Nazis. Unfortunately, they fight the Nazis like idiots, and most of them get their heads completely blown off by guns or eaten by dogs. If that sounds upsetting, it is.
Tell me, so I don't stand around like a fucking fool.
Asparagus. Is this all about your asparagus?
No, it's not about
What
asparagus.
the hell is it about? Are you a special agent sent here to ruin my evening and possibly my entire life?
So rude to me.
Quite possibly the gayest movie on this list, The Phantom Thread, is about Daniel Day-Lewis as a complete queen who is like really stuck up, and then he meets the woman of his dreams, or is she the woman of his nightmares? And then they have like a weird, bad, straight people relationship that is bad. There's not really a lot to say about it because there's not an awful lot of plot, but there's a whole lot of story, and it's amazing to watch it develop. Probably one of the better movies on this list, to be honest with you. I'd just go ahead and throw that one right on top of the priorities list. But because it's a good movie, it might not quite be as distracting as something like Future War, or Serial Mom.
No, I'm not, you motherfucker!
Or Green Room.
Sam! Sam!
Or any of that.
I kick ass for the Lord!
So, did you know that Peter Jackson, the director of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, actually directed the goriest movie of all time? That's right, it's called Dead Alive, or Brain Dead. It was made in New Zealand because where the fuck else are they gonna make this? The highlight of the movie, beyond like turning a human being into a walking lamp, the zombies have sex in the movie, and that's really awful to watch. The highlight definitely is the moment where the character picks up the lawnmower and begins chopping people to absolute bits. I mean, you want to talk distracting, Jesus fuck. Candyman is iconic, and everyone should watch it and probably love it. It's fucking great. The fact that it's a classic is kind of lost on a lot of modern audiences. I don't think that a lot of people watch Candyman in the same way that they watch like a John Carpenter movie, but it is that good. One cannot stress enough that Tony Todd, quite the screen presence. Did you know he was in Hellfest? That was my last video. You should watch that too. I probably have the most popular analysis video of Beyond the Black Rainbow on the internet on my YouTube channel, so there's a good chance that you know about this. But in the event that you don't know about this movie's really slow and laborious and horrifying. Probably the movie that most people have dropped LSD watching, which I'm not saying is a bad idea, I just don't know if you can get LSD in a quarantine. I'm saying I'm too afraid to leave my house to get the LSD to watch this film again, but you should do that. I shouldn't say that. It's a horror comedy, it's great, and it's also nihilistic and absolutely horrifying. A bunch of punks are in it. It has a really casual and weird attitude towards death. Like, people just die and that's the end and that's it. And there's nothing, it's a real, why did I put this on the list? But I promise it's funny.
Come on, man! You're next, fucker. God! God!
Wild at Heart is also the unlikely David Lynch pick for this list, except, I mean, I don't know, it won the Palme d'Or, and also Nicolas Cage is in it. Nicolas Cage plays basically a guy who thinks he's Elvis Presley, who wears a snakeskin jacket and talks about how it makes him completely unique to everybody else.
Hey, my snakeskin jacket! Thanks, baby! Did I ever tell you that this here jacket represents a symbol of my individuality and my belief in personal freedom?
You get it, he doesn't see the irony. Laura Dern is in it, there's multiple musical segments. Willem Dafoe plays a guy that has all gum, no teeth. The worst to watch. And it's got this weird Wizard of Oz thing going on. I don't know what David Lynch is up to in this movie. It's wild. But what it is very distracting.
Any activity in there?
Congratulations, you've reached the movie that makes me cringe the most, other than Future War. Bone Tomahawk is just a genuinely good Western for like 90% of it, and then 10% of it is some of the most violent shit I've ever seen in my life, so that's awesome. This movie deserves all the trigger warnings, but I feel like most of the movies in this list deserve all the trigger warnings, but this one deserves all the trigger warnings. Holy shit. There is a sequence in this movie that comes completely out of nowhere that will scar you for the remainder of your days. Genuinely, I hope there are many days. Let's move on. Is just a great classic movie. It's still Guillermo del Toro's probably most interesting movie in my opinion. I mean, Devil's Backbone's great, Shape of Water is really good, but in my opinion, Pan's Labyrinth is so high concept and creative, just generally super interesting. The creature designs never get old. I want to buy those action figures. Those are so cool, but I don't think we're gonna be going to Target for a while, so maybe I'll hold on, I'll wait on those. Maybe I'll wait a little bit.
You're Norma Desmond. Used to be in silent pictures, used to be big.
I am big. It's the pictures that got small.
Icon. Okay, so you know there's that like meme that everybody has said since probably like, what, immediately when this movie came out? I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeVille. That came from this. When people say it and completely out of context, they're not realizing that it's said by a literal evil person who has no idea that her fading star has faded and she commits murders. You're gonna love this movie. It's a classic and it should be on the Criterion Collection, but where is it? Criterion, listen up. We already had a Blu-ray of Easy Rider. What the fuck? Is my favorite movie of all time. I said that about Phantom of the Paradise, I think, but Mulholland Drive is seriously my favorite movie of all time. I've never seen a movie tackle a codependent bad relationship in quite the same way. It's confusing for 90% of it, and then the last 10% make things way too clear in a very stark and horrifying way. You'll love it. I'm so sorry that you were cooped up in your home and I've just told you to watch Videodrome. It's awful. There's violence and BDSM and someone wants to fuck a TV and then someone becomes a TV. James Woods is in it. It's kind of a drawback, but he's good in it. It's directed by David Cronenberg. I'm sorry. It's the obligatory David Cronenberg pick. I mean, I feel like this is kind of essential. Everybody has to see this, especially with all the concerns about like the way that the media currently is like making a big deal out of like scary things and violence. It has a lot to do with that, and I think you'll find it very interesting.
Father Christmas can't come if we haven't got a chimney.
You'll see.
The ultimate dystopian fantasy, directed by Terry Gilliam, who is now kind of embarrassing. It's a movie that is sardonically hilarious, but at the same time horribly depressing. Probably like one of the more accurate depictions of the way that things get fucked up in society over the course of time without us knowing it, versus like something where there is like a big takeover and a big push away from our ethical beliefs and towards something else. It's a slow process that has turned us into bureaucratic nightmares. And it's just perfect for the time period that we're currently living in. I think a lot of people are going to be very interested to rewatch Brazil right now, and if you haven't seen it, now is a great first time to jump into it. Well, there you have it. There's 50 movies to go watch right now, and you should watch them if you want to. Many of them maybe not. Half of them probably maybe don't. But if you're looking for a distraction, and let me tell you what, late at night when I'm scrolling through and I'm looking at what's going on in the world, I sure am terrified, and it would be pretty good to turn on a movie that is the goriest movie of all time, or Videodrome, or Serial Mom, or something heartwarming like Candyman, Roar, or Eyes Wide Shut. But don't watch that with your significant other if you have one of those. That'll make you break up, and then you'll have to stay in the same place together. Watch that one on your own. Or Inland Empire. And hopefully these movies bring some sort of joy to you in this time which we all really need them. Now, excuse me, I'm going to go and do a sequel to this video right now where I talk about hard mode. That's right. Here's more movies that will actually fuck you up right now. And if you're looking for another casual distraction where you just hang out with somebody, might I recommend the fact that I am Twitch streaming again. So hop on over to twitch.com/twitch.tv/NickSpheres. I don't fucking know. And come hang out with me and play some spooky games. Do you hear the sirens? It's getting real bad right now. We gotta watch a movie. We gotta watch The Last American Virgin right now. Like and subscribe.
I hope you've all enjoyed this content. If you have, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Or don't. I am dead. Did you know that cannibalism is technically eco-friendly? I'm not sure if it's vegan, but close.
Hello.
Hello.
And welcome back, my friends.
My babies.
To the... Hold on. Let me put that away. So y'all can't see my desktop. I hope y'all had fun. So we put this together just sort of... I feel like these are getting interesting because you kind of have the opportunity to... actually see how I've like progressed and changed through videos. It's kind of wild. Like I cannot stand my voice in the Midsummer video. Like I had to shut it off and leave the room. It's wild, but some of them are fine. It's just so strange how that doesn't feel like it was even that long ago. I don't even really remember. I don't know. It's wild. But anyway, hello, and thank you for being here. My loves, my queens, my babies, my beauties. Fellow gays, I'm trying to figure out if I want to do another stream after this, or if I want to go. And I'm feeling very tired today, so I'm thinking I'm gonna probably go. However... we will be back very soon with another Nicks at Night. We will also be back with new episodes soon.
Right.
Please consider supporting us on Patreon. And if you ever want to make a one-time donation to what we do over here, we are literally just two trans women that make this show at this point. It's just us and our cat. And so help out on Patreon, or if you ever want to give a one-time, paypal.me/NickSpheres is another way to donate. But anyway, thank you all for coming out. I hope that you had a good time, and we'll be back soon with a new one. Also, keep an eye out for our podcast next Monday, which we should be doing. A live podcast with Azrael and I.
Right, where you can call in and talk.
And yeah, we'll be taking calls from the audience, so that'll be very exciting. Azrael, say hi.
You've been here the whole time.
I know, but just say hello.
Hey.
Oh.
No.
I just wanted to give you
a kiss. Kiss.
Okay, y'all go away now. Go home. Go to sleep.
We're gonna go drink wine.
I don't think we're gonna drink wine.
We're gonna go drink wine.
I'm gonna go lay down.
Eat some sketty.
Eat some sketty. Okay, we'll see you very soon. Next stream is the Sunday stream on Twitch,
stream, yeah.
But we might be doing another stream on Twitch between then and now. So keep an eye out. Thank you all.